Greetings, viewers. This is A Vision Entertainment once again, and we have another special show and a special guest. This man is Rennie Harris. He's a dancer, choreographer, artistic director, and professor of hip hop dance. He formed the first and longest running hip hop dance touring company, Rennie Harris Puremovement, the Basquiat of the U.S. contemporary dance scene. Viewers, we welcome Dr. Rennie Harris. How you feeling, brother?
Hey man, I can't complain. All is well.
Well, I'm glad, man, you came onto the show. Like I said before, I've been trying to get at you. Now you're here. I know you got a busy schedule, touring. You're
Yes, sir.
always traveling. You know how that go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Born and raised in North Philly, right? North Philadelphia.
Yep.
Let's talk about your background, like growing up in Philly, man. And how was that? Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I honestly, I feel like it was the best for me. I had the best time, even though a lot of it was, bittersweet, because when you live in a neighborhood, you know, it is what it is, especially
Yeah.
if you're in North Philly,
That's right. That's right.
you know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
We grew up, I feel like part of my childhood there was sort of normal in a way about, our days, man, we played outside. So, you know what I mean? We played football, basketball. I used to skateboard,
Right.
like really get down freestyle with skateboarding. Um, and all the, hood cats was there, but we were kids at the time, so they didn't really bother us so too much in that way.
Yeah.
Um, I learned to box North Philly, back then you had
We
to,
all did. You had
yeah,
to.
right. Yeah, you
You
had
had to
to,
rumble.
you had to, they take you either somebody, I mean, I went down to Joe Frazier's gym. I
Yeah.
went down, I think it was off of Ridge Avenue somewhere, or
Was
not.
this on Broad and Glenwood?
It might have been good. Yeah, yeah, it might have been Broad and
Broad and
Glenwood.
Glenwood. Okay.
Yeah, old head took me down there. Was like, no, my full name is Lorenzo, but
Yeah,
everyone
Lorenzo.
in my neighborhood called me Riz or either
Yeah.
Rizzo.
Yeah.
I was mad skinny, small.
Yeah.
I mean, I look more rough and tough now than I ever did.
Big
You
big
know what I
difference.
mean?
Big difference.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And so there was like, no, Lorenzo, you gotta learn how to fight. You know how to learn how to, So I went down there just to get my 1-2s in, and
yeah.
just like some basic stuff. With everybody did. Everybody went to the gym, and
That's
back
right.
then they had a thing called PAL, was
Yeah,
the
the Power Center.
Police Athletic League.
That's
So
right.
you went down there, you learn how to box, you learn how to do other stuff, that kind of
That's
thing.
right. That's right.
For the most part, yeah. Other than that, man, it wasn't a lot of. I mean, there was a lot because we were coming out of the gang war era in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Where it became more individualized, and after that a little bit, the gangs were slowing down. My area
Yeah.
was Morocco's territory.
That's me. We both from the
Oh,
same way. Morocco.
okay, yeah, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right,
That's
that's
why
what's
that's why I
up.
mentioned my peoples, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You was on
So,
Corinthian Avenue, right? Corinthian Avenue?
I lived on 18th and Thompson up to Corinthian Avenue.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So
that whole
we
area. I also live on 18th and Master,
on
19th
Master
and
Street.
Jefferson. Like, oh, I
Okay.
had like, and then I went up a little bit more deep. I was up 15th and Westmoreland.
Yeah. Us
Yeah,
all north. You all
yeah,
north.
yeah. I was
We-
no. When I tell you, yeah,
yeah,
you know, look,
yeah.
you make it out of there. As I say, people they used to say,
That's
"Yo,
right.
you make it in New York, you make it anywhere." I said, "No, no, you make it in Philly."
That's right. That's right.
I used
That's
to
right.
hang down in the Badlands. I mean, and I wasn't a bad
Wow.
kid. I was by and anyone can tell you, that's Rizzo, that's the dancer, right? Or they know, but
Yeah,
when you're in that environment, you got to show and prove still, regardless of what character you play in that environment. You know what I
that's right.
mean?
That's right.
You
You
know what
got
I
to
mean?
show and prove.
A lot of cats wasn't just straight up, back in the day we call them suckers, but nobody was like everybody could hold their own to a degree
That's right.
unless they was completely sheltered by their family.
That's right.
There was a way that everybody operated, and actually I like that because it was like you got respect if you could when you did fight somebody, even
If you lost, that's
you
right.
lost, like they wouldn't mess with you again. Like it was just like a whole, if you
Yeah,
had to go through that. Some people didn't have to go through that. I had to go through that because I danced.
that's right.
And
That's
I
right.
was with the Scanner Boys, and we was to come in, and the cats didn't like us because we would start dancing, and
That's right.
all the
That's right.
ladies would get it, you know what I mean? Then they want to fight us and call us
Yeah.
gay or call us out our
Yeah.
name. Like, you know, they
You got tested. You got tested. You had to
yeah,
get, you
you know,
know.
and so we got to the point with Scanner Boys, like, and the Scanner Boys got started on 19th and Jefferson, and it was two cats that I'm sure, but I feel like it was somebody else, but it was the two cats I remember was Fonzo and Ponzi. These
Fonzo.
two, yeah,
Okay.
these cats were the ones who started. We was young boys, we were hanging around them,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So you know, they were
They
the
was your
ones.
old heads. They was old
Yeah,
heads,
they were the
basically.
ones that was their group. We kind
Yeah.
of like just kind of took it in a way, like we just kind
Okay.
of, but they were doing grown up people shit stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, and so yeah, so we, you know, we got to a point where people wasn't even hiring us for parties because we was always fighting because somebody was always trying to test us because we danced.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
That's right.
And again, like I said, I wasn't that cat, ain't that cat, never been that cat. You know what I mean? Like I only, you know, but when you're in those neighborhoods, you have to, you know, survive and you have to know how to hold your own to keep it moving. And there's a lot of people like that who are just regular people, but they know they had to go through what people do
Survival.
go through in poverty.
That's
You
right.
know what
That's
I mean?
right.
Of course, we
That's right.
didn't know we were poor, but
See, that's the beauty of it. We wasn't aware. All we did was have a great time. We wasn't aware of our parents, and they made it work. The parents made
they
it work for
did.
us.
We didn't really. We didn't. It was normal, right? So my mom would be like, "Go down to Miss So and So and ask her for two pieces of bread." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? She
yeah.
give you four slices of bread, and we get the bread, and then you know she go, "Oh, take these eggs, like these
That's
three
right.
eggs to Miss So and So." So people bartered and gave like they were like they knew you were doing bad, especially if you had a bunch of kids. It was seven of us, right? So it
Wow,
was
yeah,
six
yeah.
boys, one girl.
Hmm.
And so, and you know, we were all boys. So, and I'm the oldest, so most of that was trying to protect my younger brothers, but they were,
Yeah.
you know, the funky bunch. They was out there.
He
You know
was
what I mean?
out there.
For real, for real. It was the real cats. I had already found like dance, and you know, I grew up Catholic in Catholic school from sixth grade, from the fifth grade on. Actually,
Uh-huh.
from fourth grade on to through high school, and
Okay.
I was actually going to be a priest,
Oh, wow.
and so,
Okay.
and so
Okay.
I used to go to like the on during the winter times we'd go to these like sessions like Divine Word Seminary would have these like learning sessions and stuff like that, and you go learn
Yeah.
Latin, you learn German, and you learn all you know like the whole thing was leading up to like the to you know like to they were recruiting like young cats to
At the
go to
time.
college to think about becoming a Jesuit priest.
Okay.
So I was, you know, see, I was getting out and seeing the world in a whole different way of North, but then you know, I thought North Philly was the world. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing today. People
Hmm.
still stuck in that those same box. Like it's you got to get out, you got to step outside the box because people don't know it's the whole world out here. You know what I mean? And that's what you had to do. You
Yeah,
stepped out.
yeah, and a lot of them like, and there's also people who they don't know, but they want to, but they're afraid to go out.
They're afraid.
You know,
Yes.
I know cats, man, who said, yo, I don't know, it was something as simple as going downtown for like some parade. I don't know, it was African American parade or something. It was years ago. I was like probably in my 20s or something like that at that time. And I said, yo, you going to the so and so? Nah, man. Renz, I can't go down there. You know, there's too much stuff, there's too many people.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Can't even
yeah.
be out in public in a public event
Yeah. Wow,
around,
wow.
yeah, like cats like that, like or they living on live and die in North Philly, you
Yeah,
know.
man. That's wild because we stayed down like Unity Day,
Unity, that
a
I think that's what it
yeah,
was. Unity Day, yeah,
a
yeah.
bunch of spots. I mean, we always went down there, man. You know,
Uh-huh.
even when the fireworks, was on 4th of July, we used to walk down there and see the fireworks, stuff like that. Yeah, so we came from the same way, man. It's the same neighborhood. You know
Yes,
what I
sir,
mean?
man. Yeah, yeah, that's what's up, bro.
So let me just go back a little bit to dancing on air. Just
Yep.
tell me, how did that happen? How did you even meet the owners down there? What happened with that?
Right. So what happened was, so I went to Roman Catholic High School,
Roman.
and I went there, and I mean, literally the first 2 months, I ran into this cat. I was walking in the hallway, and this cat was dancing. It was like a crowd. He had no
Okay.
suit, you know, he was suited and booted, man. I was like, you know, because in Catholic school you have to have a tie and a suit
Time.
jacket, all that,
Yeah.
right? But you know us. So this cat had like a gold tie bar chain. He had the cufflink. He was
Yeah.
like when I say he was how we do it, right?
Yeah.
He had on some Bally's from Shoe City down there on 8th, right there in China.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
He took it back. Yeah.
yeah. So his name is Franklin Stewart. He was from he was from Sixon Parish.
Six.
Right there,
Okay.
right a little bit beyond
That's like Richard Allen, almost
Richard Allen Projects. Yeah.
almost down there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to walk past there to get to his neighborhood because
Yeah.
I started walking around it because them cats was crazy. So back then,
Yeah.
so
Matter
I
of fact,
would walk
that's Pentown. That's Pentown.
Pentown, yeah.
Up Spring Garden. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but he would that was this cat. His nickname was Money. And so
Okay.
I saw him dancing, and so I can't remember if he challenged me or I challenged him or I just jumped in. But
Okay.
me and him started battling, right?
Hmm.
Now at this time I'm raw. I'm just doing whatever comes. I don't know nothing. I've seen GQ, I've seen Steffan, I've seen that
Hmm.
stylist because that's a Phillies thing.
Yeah.
And he was doing GQ. He was doing soul stepping. He was
So
doing that.
step.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just started going, and then me and him became friends, and then he taught me.
Okay.
He taught me how to do GQ. We became a group. We call ourselves the Step Masters,
Okay.
right? And so he saw this ad. I gave the background to tell you that he saw an ad for a TV show.
Hmm.
And he and I had just performed on a TV show called The Bo Lit Show. It used to come on Saturdays for kids. And me
Okay.
and him had did a little GQ routine on there, right? And
Okay.
so he found the ad. We went up to they had the audition in King of Prussia Mall.
And this is for dancing on air. The
Right,
audition.
yeah. Like here's the thing. At this time, I had never really been outside of Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like King of Prussia Mall was like that's
That's a mission. That was a
like going
mission
to New
back then.
York. Yeah.
Yes, a mission. Yeah.
So we had to get the money to get on the bus and did this long ass ride to King of Prussia.
Yeah.
So we went out there, we suited and booted, like we got matching suits on, like we got like derbies, got our derbies, bow ties, the whole nine. We about to go
Yeah.
in. So we get there and we audition, we do our routine or whatever. And then was a bunch of people there, it was girls and guys there. And then they said, okay, well, go ahead, dance with these girls.
Mhm.
So it was all right, best. So we dancing, whatever. And that's when we found out, like, oh, just not like the showcase. It's not like a showcase performance. Like you're going, oh, here come the step masters. They was
Yeah.
just looking for dancers, right?
Okay.
Like social dancers. And so
Mhm.
that's how I got on Dancing on Air. It was the first time it ever aired. And I think it might have been 80, 81-ish, if I'm
Yeah,
correct.
it's about that time. Wow.
So I got on Dancing on Air and at some point in between Dancing on Air, between 81 and 82, I kind of shifted into from GQ to popping because breaking
Wow.
started to become a big thing in Philly in the early 80s, 82, around 81, 82.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
now meanwhile, this had already breaking was a big thing already in New York from
Hmm.
early 70s to 79, 80, right? It already that's why they were able to do what they could spin on the head, do all this amazing stuff because they
Okay.
had 10 years of developing the movement. You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow.
And so, yeah, and I remember we were down at the Concilio, I think outside of the Concilio, right there around the corner, right there in right outside of Richard Allen Projects.
Richard Allen. Okay.
Yep. It was a social spot. It was called the Concilios, where all the Puerto Ricans used to go and have their event, like little things and
Oh
parties.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now I think it's like an ice cream shop or something. But
Okay.
so we would go there to challenge those cats because them cats was fast. They did merengue, they did salsa, and when they did GQ, they
Yeah.
had a whole different rhythm. So we still like to go, you know, go there. So at this one time, this cat, Puerto Rican cat, got on the floor. He put his head on the floor and like spun around
Sprint.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on his head. And like everybody in the circle was like, the fuck is that? We like, get that out of here. Who
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
heard of
See, we
on your
didn't
head?
know that the head spin. Y'all didn't know then. You know
We
what I
know we
mean?
didn't know because
Wow.
obviously from my understanding, and that someone else can correct me, it was the Puerto Ricans from Philadelphia who was bringing breaking into Philadelphia from their family members who were in New York.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That so they were going to New York for a summer vacation or visit, whatever, and they were coming back with this movement. You know what I mean? Or their family members was coming to Philly.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so this is the beginning to me. Now, a lot of people, I don't have the exact, but from what I know, because there was no black folks in Philly doing it, even though New Yorkers will tell you like the black folk were the ones who started breaking. And then the Puerto Ricans picked it up and kept it going, and
it was on.
Developed it the whole nine. Without them, who knows where it wouldn't have been. Now, that's just my understanding, and anyone can correct me if they know something different. But that was the first time I saw any kind of thing of like breaking and anything like that. So anyway, so I became a popper. I started the group. I didn't really start the group Scanner Boys, as I explained. It was these old heads, and then the young guys who took it asked me to be the leader of the group because they knew that I used to do GQ.
Okay.
And so at 15, 16 years old, they considered me an old head already.
Wow. Because you'd already kind of dug in and you knew.
Yeah, I was already doing it,
Yeah.
I was 12, 13, going to dance contests. They didn't have battles like that. It was called, you would go in a dance contest, people doing disco, they doing salsa. I danced against a guy and a girl who was doing pantomime. You know what I mean? When you have like dance contests, I mean anybody, Irish jig dancer, Irish step dancer come out, you know what I mean? Like you're going against any style, which is to me still dope. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So anyway, so that's kind of how I got onto dancing on air.
That way. Wow, when you think of breaking and bebopping and and all that, back in when I was going to the school called Frederick Douglass, right? 22nd and Maryland.
I know Frederick Douglass.
Yeah, so I was in Frederick Douglass. So I don't know how we got the cardboard, but they used to give us cardboard and we used to spin and do our moves on that, right? That kind of led me to loving hip hop. That's why I love B Street and Crush Groove and breaking 1 and 2 and Wild Style, because those years had led me, those years in Douglas led me to all of this stuff that I love today. And I know we just talked about your start, but was that your start? Like, what inspired you to pursue a career in dance, and how did you get your start?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna be real, and I'm gonna be very, like I say, I'm gonna be real north about it. I got paid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Someone offered me, this is before even high school, they was like, oh, Lorenzo, they'd be like, Lorenzo, go get your little friends, and that you'll come to the thing, come on through with your little friends. Okay. And he would always be an old head with his hand be like this, though.
Yeah.
Your little friend, yeah. Mm-hmm. And like them come through, and then they gave me like $10, and we all got $10 each. I was like, that. And so, with how much penny candy and tasty, we're like,
shoestrings,
we thought we got over on them because we were like, you could have just asked us to dance and we would have
free.
Wow. We were like, we got paid, right? And so what happened was that I continued to get invited to come to places and perform, and they would pay us. It was like at the time it would be $20, it'd be $50, or they'd be like, oh, come to the what's the bar off of 15 from Brown, right off of Ridge Avenue. It used to be there.
It was called off Brown Street. It was called the 1500. Not that one.
No, it's something they changed
the cap. The night. No. It was
nightcap. The nightcap.
Nightcap.
Mr. Rowe.
Okay.
So come on through, dance, and then you put your hat out for money, or go to Mr. Mustache was across the street.
Wow.
On Ridge Avenue. It ain't there anymore. Or you went to what's the joint?
You took it back, Mr. Mustache.
What's the joint next to the boxing spot? It's on right there at Temple. Dang it.
Next to the boxing spot on Temple?
Right, it's right on Temple. I can see it in my head. It'll come to me. I think it's still operational because I don't think they sold their property too, because they were holding out and they didn't sell the property.
Okay.
Anyway, so we used to go around, make the rounds and go, you know what I mean? And our at the time our arch nemesis, so to speak, was for
Yeah.
GQ was the floor takers. So we would see them, you know what I mean? Like we didn't like each other, we were kids, thinking
Yeah.
man, forget that, in effect, we were kind of like little gangs that danced.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like, literally, like, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Mhm.
like for real.
Yeah.
But so that's how I started getting paid, like just going to weddings, this and that, doing whatever anyone invited me. And we never really, honestly, marketed it. We just when we danced one place, somebody else said, "Hey, why don't y'all come over here?" And
Okay.
that's the beauty of what I learned is that years later, in '92 when I started my new company, um, I realized that in order to make it as a company, if it's just with any company, it would have to be dance. Whatever you do, there's a 3-year window.
Okay.
In that 3 years, you got to show improve. Because if you don't show improve within 3 years, you have to rebrand yourself,
Wow.
right? As a company. Now, of course, this is back then. Today is different. We have Instagram and all the digital
Yeah.
stuff, right? But I still believe in this way of looking at it. The first
Mhm.
year, I did everything for free. I don't care. Well, whatever they gave me. They said, Lorenzo, one time we danced for food. They
Yeah.
did the old
It's
ladies made chicken and greens and all stuff like that, and we
because you
danced.
still building, you building something.
Right.
Yeah.
So I said yes to everything that came my way. And then
Yeah.
by the second year, people should start to know your name.
That's right. That's right.
You got to hear the buzz about this group, this thing, right?
Right.
And then the third year, you need to hone all that money in that you're building. You're building those connections and stuff like
Smart.
that. If it
Right.
doesn't go up on that third year, you have to change something within your organization or your infrastructure to
Yeah.
make it feel like to rebrand it in a way to get it back.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean? Like
Get it rolling.
when Fred Flintstone gets in the car and he be doing this for
Yeah.
him to go. Yeah,
For to go. Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
back in that car and do that a
That's
little
right.
bit to
That's
get
right.
it to
That's
go
right.
again.
It, it's
So
it's just like a harder hustle. That's all. But
yeah,
you got to
and so
do it.
that's what it was. I realized it started to become my hustle.
Yeah.
And so I only did it because I got paid to do it. If
Okay.
I and I would have done it I still did it for free. Like we walked over to South Philly to battle the mighty Boom Shakers. We went to
Yeah.
we went to Punk Funk Nation out there in South. We used to hang out with them cats like MC Caesar, rest in peace, MC Robbie B, Grandmaster Nell, all them cats. We used to
Yeah.
rock out with all them in South Philly. We go over there and dance. We go up Winfield, you know what I mean? Dance
Winfield.
out
Yeah.
there. We go down the bottom. We be with B Force, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We used to
Wow.
rock
Wow.
out with Sex Machine, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like all the Disco Rat
Yeah.
from way back, DJs from Philly. So we would rock out with all of them, 52nd, and was it Chestnut Walnut where the YMCA is up there.
Yeah. That's walnut. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to be up there. They used to throw jams there all the time. They do jams at the YMCA on Broad Street in North Philly, right there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So we would frequent those places and we battled anybody that came in there. So we was getting our name out there the
That's
whole
right.
time. We walked
That's how
because
you
when
do it.
nobody had money, we didn't have a car. We all walked.
See,
You know,
back then was different, man. It was different. Right now, and everything is easy. It's handed to you. But you
yeah,
had to really build yourself back then. You had to really go out there. It's like when you're selling flyers today. You got to go and kind of hang. I still hang my flyers up when I'm doing an event. I
yep,
still do that. I still go hand in hand with flyers. Now everything is digital. We do everything online. But back then, what you're talking about is a grind. That's a real grind. You know
oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
You'd
That's
be
a
like,
real grind.
there was in the '90s there was street teams, and then there was what they called guerrilla street teams. So
Yeah,
or they call it guerrilla advertising. So let's say if I did a thing where we were doing something, I forget we were performing, I was trying to get or having an event and I
yeah,
wanted to come out. So I used to go right to the gallery and I would I would go in to like the Gap and
yeah.
I'll be pretending like I'm looking at, jeans and stuff, and I would stuff flyers in the jeans.
And every pair.
Yes.
That's
And I would
smart.
go through the whole gallery. I would just
That's
like in my yo, go over here. And then, man, I should
wow.
throw flyers on the sub, like get on the Broad Street line, just
That's
throw
right.
them all over
That's
the
right. That's right.
And
That's
then,
right.
you know what I mean? Like we used to do all kinds of crazy ways of like getting people to get, covering the city, like, yo, cover, you in South Philly, you in, Southwest, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so it was definitely a different, a different grind, but it was also too, we were building community.
Hmm.
Like a lot of people, they always thought the Scanner Boys, they thought I was from Winfield. People thought I was from Southwest Philly because I hung up 56 and Hodges.
You was
They,
already up there. Yeah.
they thought because I was always walking through the park.
Yeah.
You know what I
That you
mean?
was from here, from out
Yeah,
here.
I'd be down PSK, Parkside. I'd
Yeah.
be like, and like this is all pre being online and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because
Just before the internet.
internet was like 98 or 97,
That's
97,
right.
98
That's
something,
right.
right?
That's
So
right.
you had to be there. You had to go cornucopia. We go
That's
out to the cornucopia, like walk, and we was in North, so we would just walk straight up Girard Avenue, hit corner, you know what I mean? Hit
yeah.
cornucopia,
Yeah.
or if you wanted to take it to the bottom, just slide on over that way. You had to be mindful. Was it Mantua?
That's down the bottom, right behind the zoo and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mantua. And
Mantua
pop. Yeah.
Project.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
had a
this,
homie there, and I said, "Hey, man, I should be everywhere, dude. I should not have been." You know how many places I used to chase, shot at, all this stuff. This guy,
it's
you
wild, but go ahead.
when you're a
But when
kid, you
you
know what I mean. You like, and we didn't have no toys to play with inside or be
no,
online,
no,
and you know what I mean. None of that stuff. So you was out like exploring the city.
that's
Like
right.
I know the city, I know Philly like the back of my hand. But here's the funniest. This is the funniest thing. Driving, I couldn't tell you nowhere.
But
I couldn't.
walk.
But walking, oh, I tell you how to get it.
I tell you, that's right. That's right. But driving is
Yeah.
different.
My brothers be
Wow.
like, man, we taking your North car, man. How you not?
No, but
I'll
that's
be
because
driving.
you.
I
Yeah.
be like, yeah. I be like, how do you get to? Oh, okay. But I walked everywhere. Anyone who knew
Because
me knew I walked.
y'all took back streets and all of this when you walking. When you driving,
Yeah,
you just on a highway. You know what I
yeah.
wanted to ask you too, Rennie? That was very important for me. Back in the day, did they ever have crews at the after midnight? Did you ever go down there and battle at the after midnight on spring?
Yeah, we went down to after midnight. It was definitely at this time. All right, I'm a backstory for a second. So I was on most of the time during after midnight. I was on tour.
Okay.
But when I came home, I would come out. But around this time, um, breaking because I was on tour and we were popping and breaking,
Okay.
and this is like 85,
85.
86 ish
Okay.
around this time.
Mhm.
So this popping and breaking started to in the mainstream started to kind of play out.
Yeah.
And they fired us. We was on a Fresh Festival, and the Fresh Festival
Yeah, I remember
was
that.
was the first rap tour to cross the country ever in the
That's
history of
right.
rap.
That's right.
And it was Run DMC, Fat Boys, Kurtis
Beastie
Blow.
Boys. Yeah.
The Beastie Boys is on the next one. This is the
With the
first one
first one,
ever.
but L was on that one. Yeah, Kurtis Blow.
Right.
Wasn't Kurtis Blow on that?
LL had came on. He only came on at the Madison Square Garden, and he was about 16 years old at the time. Around he was a teenager when he
Wow.
came.
Yeah.
And so what I'm telling you, yeah, I'm in my 60s now. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So what I'm
Okay.
telling you, it is
Yeah.
before the other Fresh Fest. This is the first ever,
The very first one you
very
talking
first in the history of America.
about.
You know
Wow.
what I mean? And so they didn't hire me for the other two Fresh festivals. This is when they had the Beastie Boys and all that. They kicked
Okay.
us off. Not kick it. They didn't hire us. They hired hip hop dancers, and we didn't know what hip hop dancers were.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
we were street. We were poppers and Campbell lockers and breakers.
But isn't it similar?
No, it's not the same thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So popping is a West Coast style that's done to funk music. It's not done to hip hop music. Hip hop
Okay.
music wasn't even invented when they were popping. Is being developed, right? So that's in the 70s.
Okay.
People were rhyming over funk music and disco music before it got onto wax. And
Okay.
so the music that they was rhyming to was the music that poppers from the West Coast were
Okay.
dancing to. And then we started popping and we were doing it wrong. But
Okay.
but the East Coast meaning. And then breaking is also a funk dance that comes off of James Brown, Goodfoot music, all that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
Campbell locking, all this stuff that everyone would call a rerun,
Yeah.
that was also done to funk music. So there was a funk dances, and that's why we never called it hip hop. We called ourselves poppers. I'm a breaker, but then was hip hop. Hip hop dance is actually the social party dances that like the prep, the fila, the
The
ouf,
the WAP.
Rennie man, the wop. That's hip hop dance. Those are
Okay,
hip hop
okay,
dances.
okay, okay.
Popping, breaking, and Campbell locking are funk
It's
dances
different. Okay,
that lived in hip hop culture because rappers were rhyming over funk music. And so as hip hop was being developed, it brought along the popping, Campbell locking, and breaking
okay,
with it. And people started to refer to that as hip hop dance, but
okay.
it's not hip hop dance at all because no
It's not
one
the same.
if you nobody if you got the brand Nubians on, you're not gonna start breaking.
Nah,
You know what I
nah,
mean? You're not gonna start
nah.
popping. What you're gonna do is you're going to get your gig on. You're going to do whatever the hip hop dance is.
But what's
Because
funny is when you mentioned that, I'm sorry, when you mentioned that, if you put on Punks Jump Up to get beat down, I saw some breakers actually breaking to that beat.
yeah, now here's the thing.
And today's yeah,
But here's the confusion, right? So not the confusion, but here's the overlap. Because hip hop started to sample funk music, the break beats,
okay, break beats.
breakers started dancing to hip hop music.
Okay,
They
okay.
started breaking. If you got something like rock, what's it? Know the edge.
Yeah, then
What's,
yeah, yeah. No the ledge.
know the
Yeah,
ledge, right? Know the
yeah.
ledge, right? Rakim joint or
Mhm.
what's Fresco and Miz. We
Yeah,
don't
but
play.
we don't
We don't
play.
play,
Yeah.
right? That's a breaking track.
Okay.
Those
Okay.
right, but it's hip hop, but it's also the beats are breaking.
It's the beats. Wow.
Right,
Okay.
it's the break beats, right? And so the breakers follow the break beats, whether it's on, it could be on any, if it could be a rock song, which there's a lot of rock songs that we took break beats from,
That a break
they're
beat.
gonna get down to the rock song.
Okay.
That's what
They
make breakers the fucking dope, because they follow the beat. They
okay.
follow what
Okay.
the break, it don't matter what the
It,
genre of
it,
music,
it it don't matter what genre they following
right?
it.
They're gonna follow because if they hear that break beat that someone took from this group over here that was, the bongo band, whoever, like you know what I mean? Like they took the breakbeat from somebody, they're gonna know that breakbeat and hear it in that new song, and they're gonna dance to that,
They're
and
gonna
they're gonna
dance
get
to
down
them.
to that. That's just me. Someone else can contest it, but as far as breakers concerned, yeah, that because I used to break as well, so I understand that.
Mhm.
But hip hop dance is party. If you can't say the name of it, is you can argue whether it's hip hop because hip hop dance always starts with a name. It's a Nene,
Right.
it's the Dougie, it's the, you know what I mean? It's the this, is that, like the
Yeah.
whip, all those
Mhm.
things that has names to it.
Yeah.
And then you have the East Coast dance, which are often called funk styles because they were done to funk music.
Okay. Funk style. Wow. You had I'm gonna go back to Temple University, right? You've had a
Hmm.
lecture titled "The History of Street Dance," which was taught at Temple University in Philly. Can we talk about that?
Yep. That's what I teach, man. I teach street dance, like, so people often they say, well, why you call it street dance? Because everybody wants to put it under this umbrella, right? But
Okay.
when you look at breakers will tell you they themselves will tell you I'm not a hip hop dancer. Like breaking is what we call the cultural dance of hip hop culture.
Okay.
It's if we had a national dance, it would be breaking.
It'll be
That's
breaking.
gonna represent us, right? That's why it
Okay.
was in the Olympics, not hip hop.
Okay.
You got
Okay.
me? And so breaking would be the cultural dance. But if you ask a popper what kind of dance you do, they would never tell you hip hop. They will always, even the new school ones would tell you, I'm a popper,
Okay.
right? You know
Okay.
what I mean? All right. So when we talk about street dance, the term, a lot of people, some of my colleagues and a few other scholars who are or hip hop scholars, they'll contest me a little bit on it, but no one's really haven't showed me any proof yet, of why we shouldn't call all of it street dance and
Street dance.
then call everything else what it is. Hip hop is hip hop, breaking is breaking,
Breaking.
popping is popping. So the umbrella term is street dance, and the reason why I say street dance is because some people think of it, if you say street, then it's a lower connotation to dance, right?
You
So
think of it, yeah.
it's low, right? And so, but only if you compare it to white dance. So if you compare it to ballet or modern and their construct of dance, we would be the lowest
Okay.
to them,
Okay.
right?
To them.
But we're not comparing, I'm not comparing it to white dance. I'm looking through an Africanist lens when I'm talking about street dance. So
Okay.
what is street dance? The term street, you know this, I know this. When I stayed out late at 10 o'clock at night, now my curfew was 10, and I came in trying to sneak in the house at 11, 11:30. My mom in the window, like, you're going to get your ass beat, right?
That's right.
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 Sorry, she did. So, right. So she said, "Why you hanging in them streets, Lorenzo? You out in them streets?" Just, I wasn't literally in the streets. I was at my homie's spot. I was at the chick's house I was trying to get up with. I was around the church. So, street is a euphemism or slang to mean community.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I say street dance, I'm saying community dances that come from the community.
Okay.
You got me?
And so it's not, it seems like it's lower because you're saying street, but it's just a community, dance, basically, like you in the community.
Right. It's coming from the community. And it's just cooler to call it street dance. Say, yeah, I'm a community dancer. Right. Okay. You know what I mean? And so for instance, if you go to the West Coast and tell them they hip hop, they're going to chase you out of there. No, we crump dancers.
So they don't even want to be called hip hop dance. They crump dancers.
No. I did a festival every year. Right now, I put it on hold for the last couple of years. It's called Illadelph Legends, and I would bring pioneers of street dance from the East Coast and the West Coast, and I bring them together. And then they would teach classes, and then some of the when they didn't have classes, we would have little small meetings and conferences, right? And the first thing that the West Coast cats said that we never heard of hip hop. Why y'all keep trying to say we hip hop? We don't dance to hip hop. We dance to. They dance to, Parliament Funkadelic. They dance to Gap Band. They don't dance to hip hop. And they would tell you they're funk dancers.
They funk dancers, right? Wow.
Right. Or they dance to, like there's a style called trendy where they speed up R&B. They'll take an R&B record and speed it up to 72, and it sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks. But they dance really fast.
They'll dance to that real fast.
Yeah, it was called trendy dance. It was a style back in the day. And so you would have all these different styles that when you call it all hip hop, you're disrespecting all the other styles. Like, what about turf? Like, here's the styles I know that exist around the country. Turfing out of the Bay Area. You got hyphy, that style. You have boogaloo, you have popping, you have Fillmore, you have strutting, you got scarecrow, tutting, sacking. That's all West Coast and coming out of different cities. Sacking was short for Sacramento, dance style that came out of Sacramento. So they called it sacking. Some people don't call it that now. Some people not. There's some maybe slight controversy over the terminology today. The Oakland Boogaloo. Then you have Chicago. You have footwork, and then in Memphis you have
It's all different names, different cities.
Memphis is juking, Detroit is jitting, Chicago is house. You know what I mean? I mean, Chicago is foot. You know what I mean? So each DC has go-go. Not just the music, but the dance. There's a dance that goes to it. And there's another dance thing that style they have for a minute called beat the feet. Then you have Harlem Shake style. Then you have light feet. That's all New York. South Side, that's New York. Breaking, New York. Like,
there's so many different types of dances, though.
Yeah, like, Philly has Wu-Tang. Battle dance was the big thing, style in Philly for a while. You know what I mean? So when you look at the street dance map, what happens is you start to realize there's different styles and different cities, and they look completely different. Wow. And then you have one style that unifies all of them, and that's hip hop dance, because the prep came out of Atlanta. The Bankhead Bounce came out of Atlanta.
That's ATL.
Right. So you had different hip hop dances that came out of different cities, but we all do them. And that's our national dance, and that's hip hop dance.
So under the hip hop umbrella is everything you just said. But it's at the top.
Under the street dance is everything.
Okay, it's everything.
Hip hop dance is included.
Okay.
However, each city shares in shares hip hop together as far as hip hop dance. So like if I do the fila here, there's a fila
In
in
Chicago,
LA.
LA, yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
now this is complex a little bit. So here's the thing. So hang with me. The interesting part, which I love, is that hip hop dance is indigenous to its city as well. So what that means is the Smurf in Philly is different from the Smurf in New York. And that Smurf is different from the Smurf in Chicago. They all have the same,
Wow,
they all
same
have the
name,
same name, but
but it's
they
different.
completely different.
We do it different.
Right.
Wow.
And so that's the beauty of hip hop culture is being an individual.
Remember that dance called the Simpson dance?
Bart
Back,
Simpson.
the Bart Simpson back in the
Yep.
day. I
Yep.
just watched this guy doing that, man, and I'm like, wow, but he was from Dallas, Texas, I think it was somewhere. So
Uh-huh.
when you said that somebody can have the same name, the Smurf, but it's done differently.
It's done differently
The
because
dance is
how
actually
they do it. You
yeah,
know,
it's
their
how they do.
culture is different how we rock in Philly, which is
Yeah,
how
yeah,
different
yeah.
how New York cats rock. You know what I mean? And so
Wow.
I think that's the beauty. That's one of the laws of hip hop
Yeah,
culture is individuality,
yeah.
right? So
Wow.
you like I can't, you know how it was. Like this fashion wouldn't be the fashion if somebody didn't say, "Well, I'm gonna wear my hat like this."
That's right. That's
Who
right.
who the cat? What's the rapper? Jewels what's
The first one, yeah, Joel
yeah,
Santana.
yeah,
Santana.
Santa wears shit like that. Well,
Yeah.
I think Black Rob, we should wear his shit crazy too. You know what I mean?
And Memphis Bleak do that too.
Yeah, right, exactly. Everybody sometimes will change up how they change their gear up because they want to be an individual,
That's right. That's
right?
right.
And that
That's
was the
right.
best part. If you go back to hip hop artists and MCs from back in the day,
Yeah.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, even though I always joke, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. I always say they auditioned for the Black Israelites and didn't get in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Because the way they would wear their gear all the
That's
time, which is
right. Yeah.
wild,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the blacks you had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, you had African Bambaataa, Soul Sonic Force,
So
right?
Sonic Forward,
You
Sugar Hill
have
Gang.
Sugar Hill. None of them groups, if you look them up right now and see what they got on, none of them look the same. And in fact, none of them even sound the same.
They don't set. That's what makes everything unique back then.
That was the foundation for hip hop is
Wow.
individuality. You
Wow.
had to
Wow.
be different. You cannot come
Wow.
out with somebody else's sound. If you did that, you was considered what?
A
A bum.
biter. A biter. And back then, Rakim didn't sound like Kane. KRS-One didn't sound like Chuck D. But
Either like or Nas or Biggie,
yeah, yeah,
Jay-Z,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they can talk about how everybody was taking this from this, they stole this from that person, but they didn't sound like those people if they took it.
Yeah,
They did it their own way, and that's the beauty of hip hop. You take something, you build on it. You don't do it exactly the way it was done, right? But then
wow.
that's the way of the world too, right? We
That's
we
right.
take
That's
something
right.
and we build on it for
That's right.
progression.
It's a
You know
progression.
what I
That's
mean?
right. Wow, wow, wow. How many years of experience do you have as a choreographer?
Man, I've been doing this. I've been doing this since I was 13.
So we going back. We going
And
way
I
back.
was always the cat that was making up. At that time, we just called them routines. So I was the cat that made the routines up. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, what is this thing? I didn't realize this is an interesting thing.
Hmm.
So when I started getting into the industry, I didn't realize that a person who makes up the routines or the choreography also get paid to do that because and a lot of hip hoppers used to take advantage of that too. And some of and in all honesty, some of them didn't know that either. But if you were a dancer and you were on a tour, you was almost expected to do the choreography for the rappers.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh
yo, put
wow.
this together. Yo, put this together for me. Prince, come over here, put this together for me real quick. And we should go like this. And you would help them. And then later I found out like, oh, I'm supposed to get paid extra for that. You know what I mean?
Wow, wow. And you never knew that. Like in
No,
the
I didn't know
beginning.
that. That was a hard lesson because I missed out on a lot of money.
Wow. So now you know the business of dance and choreography. You know the business now, how that goes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow. How do you approach creating a new dance routine?
Well, I mean, it depends. I always start with the movement. I don't start with the narrative or the story and nothing like that. I just start with the music and the movement. So if I hear music that I like, and what makes us different, what I do is it was called street dance theater. And so
Hmm.
what we do in the theater, most of the stuff music I dance to is probably maybe 30% of it is hip hop
Hip
ish,
hop.
right?
Hmm.
Because the idea is that when you see hip hop dance or let's say if you see hip hop per se to jazz, it makes it look different when you look at it.
Okay.
You think of,
Okay.
oh wow, that's something different. Or if I'm popping and all you hear is my breath, that's different.
It's
You know
different.
what I mean? So I played around with the music, the
Hmm.
type of music, and still use street dance movement. So what my company is, we're considered well, I consider my company an all styles street dance company. So that means we do Campbell locking, popping, breaking, hip hop, house. If one of the cats whacking, Vogue, whatever I use, whatever's available to me to create
To
work, to create
Okay.
move choreographically.
Wow, that's smart, man. That's definitely smart because you can always come up with new moves. You if you just
Yeah,
simple, yeah, you come up with new things, man. That's dope, man.
yeah,
When you
you
look
can
at
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Now, I was going to say that was one thing I figured out early. Like, if I only did it with breaking, if I only did it with popping, it's going to be hard because you after a while, I could do it for maybe a couple years, 2 or 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5 years. I can
Yeah,
pull out some stuff, but it's going to get harder and harder because would have reached the presentation would have been pretty much the same, the foundation of it. But if I'm pulling from hip hop, I'm pulling from house, and I'm pulling from let's say jitting or juking or any one of them other styles and
yeah,
mix it up, and you don't know where that's coming from. You're like, oh
yeah,
snap, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and then you change the music, like it could be rock and roll, it could be, I mean, because a lot of people don't realize that, well, one, rock originally was black. And
Hmm.
so that's why a lot of us used to listen to it because it was black music and before it flipped
Right.
over with this. And then it's still people still will rock out to music because they understood the history of it.
Okay.
But and when it changed drastically in the 80s, I mean, even more. It changed in the 60s, but also even more in the 80s,
In the
where it became
80s.
more pop bubblegumish, kind of thing. And then and so people started sort of migrate, trying to figure out like pushing more to hip hop and pushing more to jazz and funk, you know.
Okay. Okay.
And so, but we know once in a while I may do something to some rock music because to me, real hip hoppers, they know rock.
Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they knew real hip hop was they punk rock,
Yeah,
right?
because
You
I was heavy in the punk, I was in punk rock back in the day too.
you wear a lot of hats. You know what else, man? You told me your age, right? And when I think about your age and you doing all of this, choreographer, you're dancing, you're touring, going on shows, how do you maintain your health and your mental health while doing all these moves and this and that? Like, have you ever sprained something? Like you sprained your
Here's the
ankle?
interesting. I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah,
And as a street dancer, we should just pride ourselves on being able to just get down wherever we get down. As I got older, I couldn't, it was like, oh, I need to be safe because once street dance became a profession,
yeah, yeah.
now you're doing it at a higher rate.
That's right.
Right? It's not like, oh, it just happened on the weekend. Oh, 2 weeks now there's a jam and you go to that and you get down. Now
Yeah,
you're calling on that skill set every night. You got to do 6 shows a week, or
that's right.
sometimes shows a day. You banging those things out, and then
That's
when you're
right.
young, you do that.
That's
And
right.
as you get older, you realize as you're going, my dancers, I tell them, I say, don't go out because they're trying to go out and hang out in whatever city we in and go party after they did a show. And I said, okay, you got 6 performances. I'm docking. I'm taking money from you if
That's
you're
right.
looking at anything else other than I'm
That's
about to
right.
James Brown it on them. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
So
right.
and so we realize that you have to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? If you're going to do it as a profession,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
so, knock on wood, I have never, and here's the interesting part, I've never injured myself dancing.
That's good.
And I used to do crazy shit. I was the cat. They used to throw me in the air. I'd come around, boom, land in the split, boom. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Was that cat.
Wow.
So, you
Okay.
know, I would do stuff like that. And the interesting part is, I hurt myself playing basketball. I tore a ligament in my knee playing basketball because I used to play basketball.
Yeah.
Uh, I um
Football, anything?
I passed no football. This is my football body right
Okay.
now,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
When I
Okay.
was back in the day, I was this skinny. I could stand behind a tree, you wouldn't see me.
Want to see you?
Right. Yeah. Like I was skinny as you know, if something happened after my 30s and got into my 40s, I started picking up weight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I slowed down in dancing. But I passed out one time just recently, years ago. I passed out.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Okay.
I choreographed this movie and they had smoke on the set, and I passed out from the smoke. And I broke my ankle, tore the ligaments, and they had to put it back. I have a titanium ankle, and
Oh
then
wow.
right, and I have, and in 2 years before that, I have both my hips replaced. So
Wow.
I have two titanium hips. Now, the hips and the ankle, none of them has anything to do with dance.
Oh, no, nothing with the dance. Wow. But
Like
you
that's
still got to take.
apparently they said it was hereditary, my hips. You know what I mean? My mom had bad hip problems and all that kind of stuff. She had her,
Oh,
but you know,
hereditary.
yeah. Even though some people,
But you still have to be careful though, right? Dancing.
yeah, but I mean, most of the injuries that did happen, like my dancers they injured themselves a lot. In performing, you injure yourself because of sweat. The same way, like if you're at a club, it's the floor. So if people spilling drinks on the floor, the dancer gets fucked up.
Slip. Yeah.
They slip, they try to throw a flip, they try to do a thing. You know, I saw a cat, one of my dancers one time, he went in the air, he did this move called tsunami where his body
Body
is
twirl.
laid out and he's twirling this way towards you.
Yeah. Wow.
He throws it, he does that and he lands on the floor and he's supposed to go into what they call Zulu turns. He go into the Zulu turns, but and we see his arm, he slipped. We saw this, I saw the arm slip. But then
Wow.
he didn't go into the Zulu turns. He had spun up. And when he spun up, we all looked. His arm didn't slip. He dislocated his elbow and his arm was facing back behind him like this.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Yo, and we were looking at, he didn't even know it. And we were like, oh shit. So
He
I
didn't
face.
know.
And then he's looked at his arm and he ran around the stage. This is in the show. We're chasing him. It was like the Three Stooges. We're chasing him around the stage to come
Wow.
as he went into shock.
Oh, he was in shape. He was scared.
Yeah, because his arm was facing the other way. So most of the stuff that happened because the floor was sweaty.
Wow.
All right,
That's
so sweat is always, especially for street dancers, is the number one fear for street dancers if the floor is sweaty. And then your number one, according to some statistics, the number one injury actually for street dancers or breakers, is the thumb.
breakers. Oh, you break your thumb too.
Fingers. They dislocate because when you're doing movements and you're throwing your weight and you're coming down on your hands a lot and
Oh,
you're on
wow.
your hands,
Wow.
you
Wow. Yeah.
dislocate the thumb. You know,
Yeah.
like this finger, I don't know if you can see it. This finger is fuck. This is bent forever.
It looked like it's a little swollen, it's a little bit.
Yeah, that's just I keep periodically I'm like try to get it back in place, but
Yeah.
I never got it fixed. You know what I mean? Like you land in your
Wow.
hands because we do prehensile sometimes. Some people prehensile where they put their hands like this.
Yeah.
Uh, and then some people use the pads and they do that. And then some people go flat. And when you go flat with your hand, when you kept moving your weight, that impacts your wrist. And so you're getting all kinds of injuries in your hand as a breaker. And then the other big one is Achilles heel, of course. I mean, the Achilles, because people we don't stretch, we don't have to do batmas and all the things that other dancers do. So often we
Wow.
don't stretch the hamstrings and none of that. You know what I mean? So in many ways, it's kind of getting shorter in a way, and then so you have a lot of injuries that way. Um, but now we know that
Wow.
now mainly because it's a profession. But before that, nobody got hurt because nobody was doing it at a high
They
rate.
wasn't doing it. Yeah, yeah. Well, you just told me, man, sometimes y'all do like 64 dates, right?
Hmm.
Or something like that. What happens when one of your guys get hurt? Do you bring in, like, how does that work? Do you bring in someone else or
Yeah,
sit
I
them
have
out?
dancers across the country.
Oh, you just call them
So
up.
Yeah. So if we come into that city or whatever and the dancer gets hurt, I'll call that person and say, yo, come do this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah, yeah.
find out, who's available, who's not, fly people in, get them
Hmm.
back into acclimate to the choreography, and then they do it. So I always keep backup dancers on the ready. And those are what I call them associate dancers. There's a core member of 8. They the crew.
Okay,
They,
okay,
they go
okay,
out on everything. And then if
okay.
it's a heavy load, like if we're dancing every day, normally, like I say, a show will start, like we'll be in New York, November 11th through the 15th or 16th or something like that, right? And so that show is going to start on a Tuesday.
Okay.
And we're going to perform Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's gonna get real. So, sometimes I'll bring in other dancers to relieve, like
Hmm.
okay, to relieve people from having to carry the load of
Okay,
the
okay.
freestyling that they do as well. You know what I mean?
So,
Sorry, I'm
so,
trying my charger so my thing don't go out.
okay. Wow. So yeah, so that's how that go, man. You always have backups. You know.
Yeah, man, you gotta have like I'm a backup cat. I don't like to get stuck. I don't want to buy. Oh, I can't do it. People who say that when I hear that, I generally don't use them again.
Wow. I just have a question. Just one thing, like what role does the dancers have in today's world?
Oh man, I think it's kind of beyond dancing too, right? So I think is to me I see is more of a sort of spiritual service.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because some people look at it as, oh, we're entertaining them, right?
Hmm.
But the truth of the matter is we're making them feel good.
Okay.
Where they're having a good time. They're watching us move and being amazed at these movements. And oh man, how could you do that? Because you have to remember the what you call
Yeah.
civilians where we call civilians are going to work 9 to 5,
Okay.
right? If they get a
Okay.
chance to go see a show, that's big. And if they could pay for the ticket, oh my God, the tickets are crazy, right?
Hmm.
So they wanna be able to relax and enjoy themselves or I don't really do like entertainment. I do a little bit of that, but I also do stuff for to provoke thought, to make you think
Okay.
about life,
Make you
the
think about
world,
it.
those things like that. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think that dance's role is to bring light to people. You know what I
Okay.
mean? To let people, to remind them that they're free. You know what I mean? You don't have to follow the norm. You can the status quo. You can get outside of yourself, experience what that is, and enjoy that vibration. Because here's the thing. No one yet, all my time of doing this, has ever told me that when they danced, they felt bad.
Wow. That's great.
When you move, your body feels, it's almost like you just gave yourself water. So
Wow.
people go to the gym. You know what I mean? They do whatever exercise, they go to yoga. That's movement. That's dance to me, right? So when you
Okay.
do those moves, you go for a walk, you feel good,
You feel good. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So movement is one of those things that, if it stops,
Hmm.
we speed up our death.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
you stop moving, you're speeding up your aging process.
Wow. That's good.
You know what I
That's
mean? Like
great.
if the world stops spinning, we're pretty much going to die.
Yeah, we're gonna die.
If your blood
Wow.
stops moving in your body, you're going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your organ stops moving in your body, you're going to die. So movement is everything. That's
Wow.
why they finally figured out that, oh, you shouldn't be sitting so long.
And that's what you just made is a great point because my mother-in-law, she's 80, 81. She do not like to sit still. Even though we're talking about dancing, but when we talking about moving, let your body move. She says she will walk from head to because she like to stay moving. because once she sit down and stay down, her body locks. It can
Yeah,
lock because
right.
of age, her age.
But it does for everybody. You get a little stiff.
He does, yeah, you
Right?
do.
Yeah, and if you look at it, like the definition of dancing is moving in syncopated steps,
Yeah. Wow.
which is walking, right? And so if you want to live longer, walk.
That's
You want
right.
to live even longer, dance. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Even if you do it like if people think you got to be like I got to kick, I got to kill it. No, just do a little two-step, get your favorite song. You know what I mean? And that's why I think with Black folk that we always dance from 8 to 80. Everyone dances,
Everybody,
and even
that's
if
right.
they just got a two-step, that's moving their body.
That's still
You know what
moving.
I mean?
Everyone,
Yeah,
yeah.
like you don't have to, and also you don't have to dance in public. You could dance right in the bathroom. You could dance, you don't have to do
That's
what you
right.
need to do. Like a 5 minutes, put on your favorite song. I always say put your favorite song on because you're going to move to that.
You're going to move to that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
When you think of dancing, I look at it like street dance, hip hop dance. It's almost for me, it's like a praise dance. I don't really believe in a praise dance thing, but when you do dance, street dance, to me, it's like a conversation piece. It's like an expression.
You
Dance.
you are communing with a higher consciousness
Okay, okay, okay.
because it's the one time you connect to like to me, if if I died on a dance floor, that would be amazing for me
Oh,
because I'm
yeah.
in conversation with the Most High.
Okay, okay.
So here's the thing. So you know how some people say, well, I'm not a professional. I said, no, you're gonna speak to God no matter what. I said, when you get on the floor, when you go to those clubs and your song come on, you dance.
You
And
move, you
you're gonna
move.
be a drinker, you don't do drugs, you don't drink, you just dance because your song or the DJ you love
That's
is
right.
on. Now
That's right.
you'll stay on that floor till it gets like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
How did you do that? You were
That's right.
taken over by the spirit, man.
That's
And
right.
like, there's no like, I mean, in real talk, if you're not a professional, then how were you able to dance for 6 hours straight, on the dance floor, or 4 hours or 2 hours? Because you were taken over and you were communing with a higher vibration. And that's why music is so powerful.
That's right.
And people know that music is powerful. They could use it for good and they could use it for bad, as you can see with the state of rap today, right? You can
Hmm.
use it to target a particular group of people. They could use
Hmm.
it to elevate people. Anytime you listen to like meditative music, it puts you in like when you go to a spa, that calms you. That's all spiritual stuff. So
It
that's
is.
why the Rastas, they say good vibrations, like a good vibration, literally a vibration. It's not just like good vibes. You know what I mean? The young
Good
kids today
vibration.
say, oh, that's a vibe. It's a feeling, right? And so which is short for vibration, frequency. And so
Hmm.
we do know that certain frequencies, we're affected by certain sonic frequencies, right? And
Hmm.
so when we dance, that's we're healing ourselves, and we're prolonging our lives, and we're communing with the Most High.
All in one shot. We're doing everything all at once,
Oh
just
yes,
like that.
and this is without drinking.
Everything gets sober. We're doing it all without
Yeah,
drinking.
yeah,
You.
because sometimes people think, oh, they get to drink, and they go there too, right?
Mhm.
However, it's not necessarily needed.
And it's not. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's not.
And I know this because I didn't drink it. Man, the first time I had a real drink, I might have been 30.
Yeah.
I,
So,
I,
so
I never thought about it. I mean, I had a moment. I drank once when I was 21, never did it again after that because I threw up. I was crazy because I thought I'm 21, let me drink. And no, I went
it,
off.
it didn't work for you. Then at
Right.
30, you
Yeah.
tried it again.
Right. And then later, as I started slowing down, then I started drinking. And then, like, okay, I got to slow that down. You know what I mean?
Okay. You know what I find very interesting is that you've honored the legacy of Alvin. I don't want to say his last name. Alvin Ailey.
Yeah, that's
Ailey.
it. Haley.
How big of an impact was Alvin on your career?
Well, here's the interesting thing. I, we actually opened up for Alvin Ailey Dance Company in New York at 95th and Broadway at the Symphony Space. Like it was it was either early 80s or no, mid 80s.
Mid
Like
80s? Okay.
yeah, 83, 84. something
Okay.
like that. And I didn't, I wasn't really into modern dance and any of that kind of stuff at the time. I was a hardcore street dancer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was, some other person. And then when Miss Judith Jamison, rest in peace, Judith Jamison was like basically she ran Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater um, after Alvin Ailey passed away.
Okay.
So when Mr. Ailey passed, she took over, but she was like his person. She was the superstar of that company.
Okay. The
Now,
go-to. Yeah.
right now, here's the thing. I don't know if you know this. So Judith Jamison is from Germantown.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, she's from Philly. Right.
Okay. Wow.
And almost 50% of those dancers that dance for Ailey are
Yeah. From Philly too? Wow. Wow.
a lot of Philly dancers go in and out. So I don't know how many are there now, but when I worked with them, was a lot of Philly dancers there. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So, right. So when she called me on the phone and surprised, I was like, how do you even get my number? And she's like, what's up, brother? Yeah, what's up, homeboy? She's like, she's
Yeah.
live. I love her to death. Rest in peace. But she
Yeah.
was real with it. Yeah, come up here and set a work, blah, 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 blah. We kicked it on some Philly stuff for a minute. I went to New York. And it was working for them that impacted my career. Right.
Okay.
Up until that point, I knew of them, but I still stay separate into my world of street dance theater.
Yeah, your own thing. You still
Right.
have your
Yeah.
own thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I think I've set 4 to 5 works on them, right? Starting in 2006. And then my last work I did was called Lazarus. And that was an hour work. And
I was getting into that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
in the history of that,
Mhm.
of them, it's the first time any choreographer has ever said an hour work on Alvin Ailey.
Oh, wow.
I'm the first, meaning and I'm a street dancer on top of that. I don't know any modern dance. I don't know ballet. I don't know African. I know of it. I've taken some African classes, but I couldn't put this move. I do what I do, right?
Right.
So that's what makes it historic for me is that they chose me to put this hour on them when they could have chose any major choreographer in the world to do it, and they asked me to do it.
How did that make you feel when you
Man,
got
that blew me away. I was scared as a mug.
You were scared.
Oh my God. I was like, how am I gonna put this? I put some footwork on them. I put some floor work on them, that's coming out of breaking. I put, I hired some freestyle dancers to, like, I call them a skeleton crew to help create so I could work with them in the daytime and then work with the company, Alvin Ailey Company, at night and then afternoon. And I knew what I was doing with them. So I would work it out in the morning with these dancers I hired. I gave them like $10 an hour.
Oh, okay.
They just, because the exchange was they were the part of creating this work to put on their resume is big. You know what I mean? They help create this work with Alvin Ailey. They work with me. Like all of that works for them on the resume. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to do it. It's fine. And all I needed was 2 people anyway, but I got like 6 or 7, which is great. And they were great at helping me out, figuring this out. Meaning, like, I used their bodies. I would tell them what to do slowly. And then once I was like, yeah, that works, let's do that. And then I would translate that or have assistants, Nina Flagg, who always assists me, Millie Heckler. And I'm like, all right, show them what we worked out earlier, that kind of thing. So that was sort of the process. And it took me a month to do an hour. However, I did prepare for this piece like a year out, start working on the ideas and production and concepts I wanted to use to help the choreography. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, so that's how that came about. Now, do they still have the theater? Is it still running?
No, they discontinued it. They normally, what happened is when they hire a choreographer to come set a work, what they'll do is they'll pay the choreographer to set the work, and then the choreographer gets a royalty. So every time they perform the work, they pay you a royalty fee. So it could be anywhere from $100 a show to $200 or to $500 every time they do it. They send you $500, right? Now, a company like that, they got 60 dates. And
Wow.
each one of them dates might have 3 to 4 performances.
Okay.
So then if your rate is 250, 300 to 500, that's per show, then you do the math on what you get per year.
That's something. Yeah. Well, that's
Right.
cool.
Right. So you're getting some extra. So you have your fee that you pay, you get paid up front, right?
Yeah.
You get a major fee of what you charge them, and then you get a royalty after that for as long as,
Royalty.
right. And they'll do
Wow.
that
Wow.
and then the contract will go for like 2 years. And after 2 years, they're either going to renew the contract or discontinue the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And that 2 years, they'll say, okay, we're not going to do the work anymore, which they normally do because they hire somebody new to do the next work
Wow.
after
Wow.
2 years of running it. Now they may bring it back. If they bring it back, they're going to give me a call and say, "Hey, we want to do it for this, blah blah blah,"
Yeah.
and send me another addendum contract.
Okay. Cool. Well, hopefully that go down.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You know?
mean, so here's the thing, man. When I started setting work on other companies, I was like, oh, so if I can work with 5 or 6 different companies in a year, I can get royalty check for the next 2, 3, 4 years
That's
from
right.
just 5 or 6 different companies.
Just keep coming in from each company.
Right. And so not only am I getting my fee that I asked for, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so then you get that royalty. That's, you doing well. You can take care of your family.
That's right. You can eat. You can eat for a couple years,
Yeah.
or maybe more. You know, the
Yeah.
young kids today, man, out here, they listen to music like, uh, see, I don't know these new rappers like that, but they listen to the new music out here today, like Little Baby, The Baby, Drake, all these new rappers, right? You are a teacher, and you teach these kids, dance and things like that, right? You teach them the whole elements at times, right? How did you encourage the younger generation to express their creativity while teaching them the foundational elements of break dance and the hip hop dance when
Mhm.
when all this new music is out now and this is what they know? How did you get their attention to actually teach them what you know?
Well, here's the interesting part of it. Like, so there's a few different. There's a few different worlds now, right?
Yeah,
It used to be just one world of street dance, and that was the rapper, the street dancer, the DJ. That was
right.
our. That's how
Yeah,
we were
that's right.
aligned with those people. And
Mhm.
so now there's the industry of so-called hip hop, which is not hip hop. They call it hip hop, but it's not hip hop.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
not.
jazz. They doing all this sexy movement, right? Not
Yeah.
hip hop dance,
Mhm.
because as we know, and they're doing all this thing where they do their arms like this, and like that's not hip hop. That
Right.
this like here's the thing. What you see on television today that they're calling hip hop, along with these like sort of rap groups and the popular ones, right? Um, the stuff they're doing the gestures of rappers. They're doing this stuff,
Yeah,
and they
that's a gesture. That's all it
yeah,
is.
and
Yeah,
they doing it, and they doing all this sexy stuff. That's jazz
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Closest anyone has ever came to real hip hop dance, to me, in my opinion, and you've seen it on video recently, was Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah,
and then before that was Missy Elliott.
yeah,
They hired real hip hop dancers or real street dancers. You
yeah,
got
they
me. And
did.
of course, there's some other ones. Janet Jackson and the Jacksons used to use the lockers all the time.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was other people back in the day. All right, like and I'm missing some people too, to be honest. And so there's the industry, there is the circuit, which is the battle circuit, where people travel all over the world to compete against each other, like
Yeah.
at these battles, right? And
Mhm.
then there's theater. So I teach street dance history and then I teach technique. I don't teach just one. I make sure I teach a history. So I have a whole course only on the history.
History.
I have a platform called Rennie Harris University. You can go online and it's a hip hop certificate where you get lectures on hip hop and street dance, right?
Yeah.
So I teach the history, and so you have to know the history and the understanding before you can do the dance. And it's in the Africanist way. So you just don't learn how to do African dance, and they start giving you the movement. They teach you the music
And
and the
teach you the
song
music.
first, and then
Yeah,
you learn the dance.
yeah.
Right. So that's what I do. I teach the history first, and then we learn the dance. Now,
Okay.
they
Okay.
make a choice as to what industry they're going to go into. If they're, let's say, you're a battle cat, like you want to battle, you want to do this. So I teach you the art of freestyle.
Okay.
How to get in the cipher, how to freestyle, how to release yourself and not be afraid, not to be thinking, how to just let the movement come out. So then you might have one student that wants to do industry. So I'll teach them foundational hip hop so that when they get the industry hip hop, they're going to look better because they're going to have timing and they're going to know how to dance. Most of the cats that do the industry, they couldn't dance with something like, like hip hop dance proper is a social dance, which means there's socializing going on. I'm talking, I see this person I want to dance to. I say, hey, what's up? Let's dance. And you're dancing. You're both doing the fila. You're both doing the movement together, right?
Yeah.
You used to go to the club back in the day, everybody was doing the same move, right? But they were doing it differently, right? And so I teach them foundation so that they know how to dance. Most of the people in the industry, literally, in my opinion, don't know how to dance. They just doing movement.
It's just a movement. It's a two-step,
right.
Yeah.
So I teach foundation hip hop proper. I teach them, how to freestyle if they want to learn that. And then I'll teach them if they want to go into street dance theater, how to create choreography for the theater.
So when you say freestyle, you're talking dancing, right?
Yeah, meaning like freestyle dance. Yeah. So for
freestyle,
instance, meaning like you do whatever comes to your mind. Some people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to just make it up on the spot. You know what I mean? So as mostly, kids who are not from these neighborhoods, right? Who don't know how they're used to someone telling them how to do it. So when I learned the fila, you couldn't tell me how to do the fila. Like I had to people would say, just do it like this. And then they would show me. They wouldn't tell me.
Yeah.
Right? Or you had to pick it up on the dance floor and look over there. When I went to Gambia and was in West Africa, and the dude was teaching us Mandinka. Yeah, so I'm learning, I'm doing the movement, and I become my student at the moment. I go, yo, I asked the question, like, how do you do this? I can't get it. And then he goes, you just do it like this. And he shows it to me, but he doesn't show me how to do it. Like literally give me the breakdown of it verbally. He shows it to me. That's how we learn, is through seeing and doing. We observe. Fred Hampton, observe and then participate.
Visual.
Yes. We it's not about an intellectual academic process and applying that thing to it. And so I know it's hard to even believe that some people can't freestyle, but there's a lot of people don't know how to just get on the floor and just do what comes to their body naturally. And so, but in battling, that's what you get judged off your freestyle. Like, how you freestyle. So when I say it's a few definitions of freestyle, right? You can freestyle the movement, or you can freestyle a style, meaning I can do house, jump into hip hop, and then come out of hip hop and start popping. And those are three different styles that you freestyled into. You just moved into those styles. So you can mix it all up, or you can take one style and just create movement on the spot with that one. Right. So this is again my interpretation, and I will. But I know I'm gonna say it because this is the hip hop way to say it.
Yeah.
Don't believe me. Do your own research. Right, because that's important. Because from the Western lens, people become the authority on these things, and then people believe that, right? Which is cool, but there's always somebody over here in the corner down the street, like, nah, man, this the cat I seen do this, and you know what I mean, 19, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
because they always got a different opinion of what you saying.
Right. So you have to make room for other people's story, their opinion, and here's the interesting part. This is where we all get hung up into and we argue about. These stories happen at the same time. If I'm thinking something, I almost can guarantee you somebody on the other side of the country in the West Coast is thinking the same thing. Has an idea. Oh, I got an idea to do this. Somebody else got that same idea because we're all connected that way. And they've already proven this with when they did the thing with with chimpanzees, they put them, I think it was chimpanzees, they put them a set on one side of the island, another set on another side of the island. They
Yeah.
gave them the same tools and they both built the same thing.
Wow. Yeah. So it was like somebody thinking the same thing somewhere.
Right. It's collective thinking, right? Collective consciousness. And so I always put out, don't believe me, do your own research, because then when you do your own research, you'll have more investment than just, you don't be, I'm gonna say this, but don't, not disrespectfully, don't be lazy and just take the information and think you know it because you think of me as this authority. And this is to people who might be listening to this, but just do the research on it.
Do your own research.
Because this is hip hop culture, which means it's a cipher, which is there is no authority in the cipher. You don't know when it ends or when it begins. So what that does is you say to me, you go like, oh, Rennie, I looked up the thing you said and I didn't see that. I saw this. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you know what? You're right. And then that checks me to reflip my thing, and I'll go back out. And you KRS-One, all the people, they'll be like, hey, I was wrong about you. Remember I told you this? Forget that. Somebody
forget that.
Yeah. And that's a real cat to me.
That's right.
Like, it's in how you operate within the collective, and that's important.
Wow, that's very important too. You know, do your own research because you may find something that I missed. Just do your own research, you know?
Right. Or just prove it, and like, have more evidence to say this is why this is not true, Rennie, like, or whomever. Like, so when we get into this thing that we keep thinking our teachers, our instructors, our professors are the last word on everything. It is their perception of how they interpret the information they got in high school and college and then in their doctorate program, right? So it's not necessarily because if you think that way, as this is the last on the information, we would never have progress.
That's right. You're right.
Everybody would just say, oh, this is it. You know what I mean? And no one will ever come up with another a serum for like disease or anything, right? Because
it is one person.
Right, because penicillin is supposed to be for everything.
You know what I mean? Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah,
so you have to do the research with information that you get. And that to me is very hip hop.
Wow. You know, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as a Black choreographer in a predominantly commercial dance industry?
Well, I'm not even in the thing. I'm not in the commercial industry at all. I left that in 19.
Okay, you bounced out of there.
Yeah, I left that in 1987, 88. And then I started my company, Rennie Harris Puremovement, in 92. And in the theater, that's a different lane than commercial industry. The theater is completely different than going, and then in the theater, there's also another lane, right? So you have commercial theater like Broadway, and then you have fine arts. And that's what I'm in, the fine arts. And then the fine arts, that's where it's less commercial. You can say more political things. You can challenge all kinds of stuff. You can do all crazier stuff in that realm, right? Wow. In the commercial world in theater, it's all about entertainment.
Okay.
So I'm in the fine arts. So that would be like the Joyce Theater. Let me see, the Annenberg in Philadelphia, the Kimmel. Some of the places now are, so let me explain this. Some of the places that have commercial dance also do the fine arts too. So they do both. They'll bring in Rent, right? You can see the musical Rent, and then all of a sudden they'll have a local dance company, right? That's their relationship to the community, right? And the Annenberg, which I am a resident artist at the Annenberg, right? That's what they do as well. Okay. They'll bring in a thing, or they'll bring in artists. And I feel like the Annenberg is actually better in the way that they bring in artists, that's about the community and the whole nine. So however, in that world that I've been in, this would be almost 35 years of my company in that world. Right. In the very beginning, I did a lot of work. A lot of my work was what I would call Black performance art, right? But it was street dance only. I only use street dance.
Okay.
And we danced to like The Last Poets, Die Nigga. We danced to, you know what I mean? We danced to great, like people used to walk out of my shows in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Because I did controversial stuff. Like what they felt was controversial. You know what I mean? And then I learned to like give them a little carrot, do a little, like have some people do a couple flips. And then in the middle of that show, then talk about molestation and rape
Oh, wow.
and deal with
Some people couldn't take it, right?
right. But some people could, and that's what made me honestly put me in the position I'm in today, is because
Okay.
I use hip hop to tell the other story, how Biggie tells that story, life after death,
Yeah.
and he gets into it graphically and he details it. And then in my opinion, that's what I do with hip hop dance or street dance, is I create these stories, but use street dance to do it only.
Wow, like I said before, you wore a lot of hats from the 80s till now. Like you're working very hard doing what you do. What have been your biggest highlight of your career thus far?
Okay, so I have three. One, we were invited by the Queen of England to perform
That's big. That's
our birthday part when we were in England.
yeah.
Two, the other one was I am I was a cultural ambassador for Obama administration, and
Wow.
they sent us to the Middle East as a hip hop company to work with other hip hoppers from Israel, Jordan, Ramallah, Egypt.
Mhm.
So we did that tour. That was the other highlight. And then I received two honorary doctorates
Okay.
in
Wow.
the arts and humanities, right? And so for the work that
Wow.
I do with hip hop culture and the choreography I do and the type of choreography I do. So those
Wow.
would be my,
Yeah,
I
your
would say,
biggest
top
highlights.
three highlights I like that
Top
I,
three.
I I I often think like, oh wow, that's crazy. You know what I
And
mean?
you met yeah, and that is crazy. The Queen of England.
Yep, yep, yep.
What kind of food did they feed y'all, man? I just want to know
Oh,
that.
I
I
don't even
just,
think I don't even remember us eating, man.
oh
It was
yeah?
yeah,
Oh
yeah. It
wow.
wasn't even. It wasn't. It was like because they do a big celebration for her thing.
Okay,
So
okay.
bringing performers and invite. But if you get invited, you know, you're supposed to be somebody.
Last question, brother. What advice would you give to young dancers looking to make a mark in the industry?
One, to decide what industry. If it's going to be commercial industry, um, you need to understand that it's not show business, it's business, and then you
Business?
show what you know.
Okay.
I guess business first. So what I mean by that is if somebody calls you for a gig, if somebody calls you, you need to call those people back. But worst case scenario, within 3 days or two
Okay.
days. Don't let them wait trying to be superstar Barbie with it.
Okay.
Call back immediately. Even if you can't talk, say, hey, I can't talk now, but let's set up a meeting at this time, right?
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's number one. Two, write down, this is what I did when I was in my 20s. I made a list. I made three columns. I put PS, I put PM, and then I put CM. And then and each day I would write down everything I did and put them in one column. So BS was exactly that bullshit. And I didn't do nothing. We were talking about how the
Okay.
Eagles lost, you know what I mean? And
Okay. Okay.
watched TV all day, went to the store. I
Okay.
wrote down everything.
Okay.
And then PM is potential money.
Okay.
Talked to my homie about writing a book. My man wanted to write a script. I went to the studio and did this. I made this move. I made these clothes. All the things that was like going to get me further. I read a book, right? I put that in potential money. And then CM was for confirmed money, meaning I got the money, I signed the contract, it's coming in.
Wow.
In the very beginning, I had all BS.
Wow.
And at
Wow.
the end, everything was over to confirm money.
Wow. So that was great to do, man. That was very
Because you
knowledgeable.
log, yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's it. That was great. That was a great thing
You
to put
you
together.
log you be responsible for what you're doing because oftentimes we go to the day and I don't know what I did.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, what did I do today? I feel like I did nothing. You know what I mean? So you
Wow.
write that
Wow.
and you journal that what you did. If you were really serious, and then you will see how much what you are doing that's stopping you from getting the bag.
Wow.
You hold yourself accountable. And so that's what I would say to young people: hold yourself accountable, create your list, definitely read and read about the industry that you're going in. So if you're doing entertainment, read those biographies of people who used to be in. I read Sammy Davis, Bojangles. I read almost all the Fats Domino. I wanted to know what people were doing back in that day. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, jazz people, you know what I mean? If you're going in, I would say to do that with all of the whatever industry you're going in. And lastly, I would say that's not lastly, I got one more last, but um be honest and don't be sincere to yourself and be realistic. Don't be so far on your own thing that you think you're going to be this amazing artist.
Amazing
You know you're
artist,
going
yeah.
to be the artist. Just go. Don't think about it. Just do it and
Just
stop
do it.
talking about it. Just do it.
Let's do it.
Right? And I say that with this last thing. Movement is the last manifestation of your reality. It is not what you say, but it's what you do that confirms who you are. So that means you have to take action. You will not get change unless you take action. Like your shirt, your glasses, someone thought of that before action was taken to create it and manifest it into this reality that you can touch tangibly.
That's right.
Like
Wow.
everything is thought up first. And so get away from those people who keep telling you about their idea for something and not taking action. You only, if you want to change your circumstance, whether it was a good circumstance or bad circumstance, you can
Mhm.
change it by taking an action. And here's proof how this works. You're in the room watching this right now. All you need to do is to change your environment is get up and walk out the door. You've taken the action
That's
to
right.
go out that door and you have now successfully changed your environment.
That's right.
Right. So,
Wow.
you know what I mean? So take action.
Well said, man. Excellent. Lorenzo Rennie, I'm sorry, let me go back. Dr. Lorenzo
Ah,
Rennie Harris. And we didn't even get into that, man. The doctor, how did you get into this real quick? Just take me on a short, small little journey about the doctor. How you become a doctor?
well, that was like, so they gave me for the work that I was doing, right? I was actually going to go back to school, but I didn't.
Okay.
For the work that I was doing in the world, because I was doing this stuff I do, I've been traveling, from Japan to Australia to, I was all over the place for all these years, and,
Yeah.
just traveling. So often universities will notice that and say that the work that you're doing is the equivalent of this degree.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And they said they saw what I was doing and says, we're going to give you an honorary doctorate. Now you are a doctor. You are a doctor of the arts and humanities.
okay. So it was given to you.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful too. That's
Yes,
great.
I have two of them. To me, I always, and my friends who've actually went to school to become a doctor and get their PhD,
Yeah.
they're like, yo, I've been doing all this work. They get upset. I said, no, I was doing the work too. I was just doing it in real time.
In real time.
I was,
That's right.
you were basically they were studying me.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know what I mean? When
Yeah.
they were, yeah, in school. So, like, I mean, that's how it came about. Now, of course, I didn't know any of this. In this world, what I do in my world, people will get together and, nominate you for things and give you awards and things like that. So I've gotten a lot of awards based on the work that I do in the field.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wow. So that's wonderful. It was given to you because of your hard work. Someone saw you putting in the work. That's
Yeah, and
what it
they
was about.
suggested they often would give people like, they gave, Bill Cosby, people doing these commencement speeches they spoke at this graduation, they're given honorary doctorates based on who they are in society and what they've done.
Uh,
And so that's what happened with me.
well, great, great. Dr. Rennie Harris, once again, he's here, A Vision Entertainment. Thank you, man, for this interview. It was wonderful. If there's anything you would like to say as far as like your social media pages, Facebook, you can give it out now where they can follow you and see your
Yeah.
shows, you
Just
know?
Rennie Harris at Rennie Harris, my IG. Oh, I appreciate that, bro.
I
All
got you,
right,
man.
you
I
have a
sent
good
invite
one.
to you.
And my email, just so you know, my email is rennieharris@gmail.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
out,
Appreciate
man.
you. All right, peace.
Okay. Peace.